Look, it's far from my favorite motorcycle, but let's be honest, if you're staring down the barrel of a midlife crisis, you could do a whole lot worse than throwing a leg over a BMW GS Adventure. Forget the sports car with the monthly payment that costs more than your mortgage or the gym membership you'll abandon in 2 weeks. What's the point of having large defined muscles anyways, to attract men? No, listen, the GS is the responsible man's irrational decision because it lets you feel wild and free while still being premium, expensive, and ridiculously over-engineered. This bike is the epitome of a rolling contradiction. It's got more tech than a 2000s Radio Shack, but it allows you to feel as if you're riding off into the unknown wilderness, even if you're just doing laps around the local gastropub. With its massive fuel tank, paralever suspension, and tractor-like torque from the boxer engine that feels more akin to farm equipment than a motorcycle, the GS makes you believe you're one GPS coordinate away from Bolivia's death road, when in reality you're just taking the scenic route to avoid rush hour. If you're entering a midlife crisis, your body just isn't what it used to be. Your joints creak and groan while attempting simple tasks. At this point in your life, you want comfort and convenience. Heated grips, cruise control, a TFT screen bigger than an iPad. You want approval from other dads? Just park a GS outside a brewery and watch every dude in a Patagonia vest give you a silent nod of approval. The GS says, I might have a 401k, but one day I'm going to leave this rat race behind me. Sure, it weighs as much as a Miata and costs more than your kid's college fund, but that's not the point. You need this. You've crested the hill. You need two-wheeled escapism, or a bike that at least implies you could escape if you ever had the balls to do so. It's the motorcycle version of, I still got it. The BMW GS Adventure is the only bike that makes buying a $25,000 ADV bike seem like a totally rational, mature decision. So go ahead, buy the damn GS. Your therapist and wife will understand, but I'm still gonna judge you. If the BMW GS is the mature man's midlife crisis bike, the Ducati Diavel is the motorcycle for the aging gentleman who bought a leather jacket online after drinking too much whiskey while watching Terminator late at night. Look, this bike doesn't subtly indicate you're experiencing midlife ennui. It screams it louder than an Italian uncle should you dare add a pinch of sugar to Nana's marinara sauce recipe. The Diavel is the cruiser for the guy who refuses to accept the fact that he's aged to the point of riding a cruiser. Because here's the thing. It's not really a cruiser. What happens when Ducati's design team gets locked in a room with a case of red wine and a poster of Vin Diesel? You wanted a Harley? Get the hell out of here. You wanted a wacky Ducati that looks like it crawled out of the pages of a neo-noir cyberpunk manga and also makes like 160 horsepower. You can throw the whole Screamin' Eagle parts catalog and 15 grand and a big dog 131 cubic inch crate engine from Harley and barely come anywhere close to those numbers. The Diavel is the perfect midlife crisis motorcycle because it's just totally ridiculous. It's a bike that has to be ridden by somebody who just doesn't care anymore because it's not exactly the most attractive machine. It's not a bike you buy because you want to impress 22-year-olds on Instagram. It's a bike you buy if your back hurts and you still want boatloads of Italian neat energy at your disposal with just a twist of a throttle. Riding a Diavel is like dating a chain-smoking model that you met in New York City in a nightclub in the 1980s. It's exciting, it's dangerous, and ultimately, she might try to kill you. If the Ducati Diavel is your wild rebound after the divorce, the Harley-Davidson Street Glide is your full-blown second marriage, with a prenup, a bar tab, and a matching leather vest for Deb. This bike doesn't scream midlife crisis, it plays Skinnerd at full volume while hauling your beer belly and emotional baggage across state lines. Let's be honest, you're not buying a Street Glide because it's fast, nimble, or cutting edge. You're buying it because one day you looked in the mirror and thought, you know what's missing from my life? Floorboards and a Bluetooth sound system. And the salesman at HD said, we got you, brother. The Street Glide, or really a Harley-Davidson bagger, is a rolling monument to the middle-aged male identity. Freedom, America, I guess that's it, right? That's basically all it is. The Street Glide is perfect for the guy who wants to feel rebellious, but still be home by 9 p.m. because he has to be at his dental practice bright and early. You're not chasing lap times, you're chasing down the dive bar waitress because you and the boys need another pitcher of suds. You don't ride a Street Glide to prove anything to anyone. You ride it to feel something again. And that feeling is a tingling sensation right in your perineum thanks to that stroked out V-twin. So buy a Street Glide, grow a beard, crank the butt rock. It's gonna feel good because the Grim Reaper is approaching, and the only thing that will keep him away is the cry of an eagle and the symphony of potatoes and Creed. There comes a time in every man's life when he looks at his sensible commuter car, his ergonomic office chair, and his cholesterol medication and thinks, I need to do something completely, irreparably, and irresponsibly stupid. Enter the Triumph Rocket 3. This is not a motorcycle. It's an engine with turn signals. It is a 2,500cc triple that's bigger than the vast majority of commuter car engines on the road and makes nearly 180 horsepower and more torque than your neighbor's pickup truck.
God damn.
The Rocket 3 doesn't accelerate, it spins the earth beneath it. This bike is for the guy who skipped the sports car and went straight to this motorcycle better cure me or I will be forced to take drastic measures. The Rocket 3 is not about agility or cornering ability, it's about commanding respect from every person who might catch a glimpse of you waddling it back into a parking space. She's a big girl, you're gonna be waddling a lot, trust me. You don't ride a Rocket 3 to commute, you ride it to remind yourself that you still exist! Because nothing says yes, you're a flesh and blood human being like a motorcycle that is so powerful it literally yeets you out of your malaise. 25 grand buys you a lot of bike. And in the case of the Rocket 3, you get a 3.5 liter triple, Brembo brakes, Showa suspension, a full suite of electronics to make this monster a little bit less of a death trap. So if you're hitting that midlife wall and thinking about doing something stupid, don't get a tattoo or start playing pickleball, get a Rocket 3, and you should flash it, because legend has it that it doesn't even give you more than 60% throttle unless you flash the ECU. It's everything you need. Unholy amounts of power and torque, attitude, and a full-scale assault on mortality, with just enough understated British charm to make your midlife crisis feel a little more like a gentlemanly crash out. Buying a Honda Goldwing isn't a midlife crisis, it's midlife acceptance. It's not about proving anything anymore. You did the wheelies, you scraped the pegs, you killed your back, proving you can totally daily commute with a sport bike. Now you want massage mode, 30 speaker surround sound, and a reverse gear because your knees are cooked and your patience is thinner than your hairline. The Goldwing is not sexy. It doesn't need to be. This bike is for the rider who's seen things like carburetors, car phones, and paper maps. It's a luxury condo with a 6-cylinder engine that sounds like Granny shot her sewing machine full of NOS. 1,833 cc's of buttery smooth flat 6 power, hauling around 900 pounds of tech comfort and sheer dad energy. The Goldwing rides like a scooter on human growth hormones. You don't just ride a Goldwing, you practically move in. The Wing has more square footage of living space than some studio apartments in Manhattan. This thing's got a trunk, saddlebags, heated seats, and an infotainment system better than most cars. The only thing that's missing is a hot plate and a bidet. It's the kind of bike that makes you say, we could take the car, but the bike's actually more comfortable. The Goldwing isn't just a motorcycle, it's a rolling retirement plan with cruise control, and it is par excellence. It's the choice you make when you're done shredding lap times and you just want to shred the highway miles with ease. Embrace your dad bod, get those white Reeboks and Costco jeans, and prepare for the Goldwing life. Riding a Goldwing isn't indicative of a midlife crisis, more of a midlife evolution. You're becoming something greater than yourself. The KTM Super Duke is also referred to as the Beast, and while that may be typical of KTM's marketing strategy, it's pretty accurate. The Super Duke is what happens when you give a V-twin way too much creatine and zero emotional stability. This is the midlife crisis bike for the guy who won't go quietly into that good night. He's going in sliding sideways, engine bouncing off the limiter, and with an orange casket already reserved for his funeral. They do make power parts caskets. Look it up. It's real. It's not. I just made that up. The Super Duke is powered by a 1350cc V-twin because, I hate to break it to you guys, but size does matter. It makes nearly 190 horsepower and 107 foot-pounds of torque. Twist the throttle and it moves you faster than the bullet that took out the Archduke of Austria, Franz Ferdinand, starting a chain reaction of events that culminated in the start of World War I. No history buffs in the audience? Okay, moving on. Anyways, the Super Duke doesn't care about your arthritis, your sore back, or your lingering sense of mortality. It cares only about violence. You can tell your wife, look, it's not a sport bike, it's a naked bike, it's practically a cruiser. It's not realistic, necessary, or sensible, which is exactly why it's perfect. You hit that age where your friends are buying golf clubs and Teslas, and you're like, no, I think I want a bike that's so ostentatious, it will distract me from the fact that my wife is sleeping with the pool boy. The Super Duke is what happens when you channel all of your angst, frustration, and testosterone supplements into a reckless financial decision. It's a motorcycle that doesn't just pose the question, do I still got this? It forces you to ask yourself if you ever had it in the first place. You know the guy who drops $20,000 a month on OnlyFans just to get a "thank you babe" in the DMs? Yeah, he rides an MV Agusta. This bike isn't for normal people. This is a bike for online whales, guys who treat their bank accounts like they hit the infinite caps exploit in Fallout 4. You don't buy an MV to commute, you buy it so you can park it sideways at valet and pretend people care that it's one of only 300 units hand-assembled in Versys. Every MV Agusta is designed to look like it was meant for a Bond villain with a cocaine problem and a subscription to GQ. You want reliability? Go get a Honda, you nerd! You want soul-crushing beauty and the constant fear of an electrical fire? Get an MV Agusta. This is the kind of bike you ride once a month and post about every day. It lives in your garage like a museum piece while you rotate through carbon levers, forged wheels, and 40-minute startup rituals. An MV Agusta is the bike for the guy who thinks a $38,000 Brutale is the missing piece between his crippling loneliness and a curated Instagram persona. So go ahead, midlife crisis rider. Simp for the MV. Drain the bank account. Money isn't real. The only thing that's real is clout. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. How many of you are currently riding your midlife crisis bike? A lot of our audience skews younger, but remember, you youngsters, time waits for no man. You either die a squid or live long enough to be an ADV dad who ages into a midlife crisis rider. And look, sooner or later, you'll be a cringe 40-year-old as well. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Check out yammynoob.co to learn more about our memberships and keep an eye out for the next giveaway bike that's launching very, very soon. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's ultra spicy and Italian. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Fact: some plants, like the evening primrose, can quote-unquote hear bee wing vibrations and quickly produce sweeter nectar to attract them. Goodbye.
Keep watching Yummy Noob.